Hello, how you doing? Good afternoon. Today proves that the sun shines on the good. That's why Theresa May and all the others, the history of the Tories, are all living in a dark bunker with Liz Truss. And my old mate Grant Shapps, he lives in his little bunker with the RAF flag, the Union Jack everywhere. But he's got nothing to say about anything that's facing us. So it's great to be here. I want to thank everybody for coming out and thank everybody across Britain for the support you've given to our members on the picket lines. I want you to remember something. The disputes we're in at the moment in the RMT are defensive disputes. The way that the media has portrayed us and the officers of the union, myself and Eddie Dempsey and John Leach and others, it's as if we sit at Unity House with a big board saying we'll move these troops forward here and we'll pull those ones over there because we're the barons. Well, we're not barons. We're elected spokespeople for working class people, just the same as the Higdons were, bringing values, bringing ideas, bringing education, and being told what to do by our members through our democratic structures. And that's what this movement is all about, a movement of people expressing people's will. And what this historical monument to the Higdons and the children and the parents of this community going back for so many decades, back to the turn of the First World War and up to the Second World War, that period of discontent in this country where we had mass strikes. We had troops on the street facing down transport workers. That great hero, Winston Churchill, putting troops into signal boxes and railway depots and docks and shipyards, and to stop working class people expressing themselves in the only way that they can collectively. We're facing it again. In the period that's coming, our people, the working class of Britain, are going to face the severest austerity, the severest cost of living crisis that we've known for many's the year. I don't even know how long. We had trouble in the 70s, but we had money in our pockets. We didn't have debt, and we weren't afraid to strike. Now, I'm the proud son of a woman that was brought up on a farm in Ireland. I'm the proud son of a postman that took the 7 weeks of action back in 1971. And I'm a proud working class person who values the heritage of Burston, values the heritage of the Levellers and all the stuff that Jeremy nicked off all my lines just before I came on this morning. All that heritage is our heritage. And I tell you what's happened to us for some reason. Over the last 20 or 30 years, we seem to have lost our history. We seem to have lost our connection with our forebears, the people that fought for us to have the right to have a trade union, the right to vote, the right to have a living, the right to have the welfare state. And all of those things are under attack again now. And we're faced from tomorrow with the most extreme right-wing militant government that many of us has ever experienced. And now is the time for working class people to stand up, use their brains, use their limbs, use their thoughts, lift up their hearts and say, we will fight. We will fight at work. We will fight in the towns, the villages, the counties, everywhere where working people can organise. We're going to do that for ourselves and nobody's going to stop us. And what we have to tell the politicians, I don't care what political party you're in. My union is not affiliated to a political party. So whether it's the SNP in Scotland, as we've seen in the last week or two, with the council workers taking on the local authorities, taking on the Scottish government and demanding that money is put into their pay packets and succeeding, hopefully, as we'll see in the next few days. Whether it's the Welsh Labour government, whether it's the English Westminster Tory government or any future government that comes in, the trade unions are going to put them all under manners so that the working people's agenda is put to the fore. And that means we rebalance the workplace so we get a set of workers' rights that are enforceable at work through legal manners and through collective manners. And if we look at the P&O dispute that we've just experienced, we couldn't lift a finger legally we could not stop a global oligopoly, or whatever you want to call it, being able to put people out of work, leave their belongings on the dockside and shove them out the dock gate onto the dole, because we have no rights whatsoever. And where is the opposition? Where are they saying, we have got a Charter of Rights, we're going to repeal the anti-trade union laws, all of them, every single one of them, and we're going to bring a new set of collective rights and individual rights for workers, enforceable in every workplace through simple tribunal systems, so that we can bring these employers to heel? Where are they on the cost of living crisis? Where are they on the energy crisis? And I tell you what the answer to that is: sequestrate the oil, the gas, deliver it at a price that our people can pay. That should be the Labour Party demand. Nationalise the oil and the gas, the distribution network, the grid, take it into public ownership. Nationalise the water companies, public ownership. It comes out of the sky, it's free. All we've got to do is collect it, clean it and distribute it. There should be no profit in that circuit, none whatsoever. Renationalise the NHS. The NHS is being consumed by private sector companies, boa constrictors that are swallowing the clinical services, swallowing the hospitals, swallowing all the ancillary services for private profit. And then they wonder why there are problems in that service. No profit in the health service, a health service for the people. Education is being privatised every day of the week. The care services in this country have been privatised. When I grew up on a council estate in Paddington in London, there were 2 council-run old people's homes living in our community on a not-for-profit basis. There were children's homes on that council estate on a not-for-profit basis. They weren't perfect, nobody will pretend that they were. But what they didn't have was exploitation of children and older people for profit. This government is obvious what they're going to do. They're going to try and cut us to pieces. But we've got to find an opposition that's going to stand up on a common sense socialist agenda for our people. And how are we going to make them do it? We won't do it by pleading to the better views of Starmer and Reeves and whoever else is on that front bench. The trade unions have got to do it. The community groups have got to do it. The rank and file of the Labour Party and the people that aren't in the Labour Party have got to do it. The trade union flag, through the new campaigns that we're running, are going to be planted in every working class community. And we will put our values forward. Strike action, collective action, action for social justice, campaigns for libraries, for swimming pools, nurseries, care homes, for the big infrastructure of this country. It's all got to come into public ownership, and that's where the Labour Party needs to stand in this election that's coming. And we've got to go back to our people in all those former red wall seats and say, these are our values. Common ownership, public ownership is good in and of itself, not as a temporary measure, as a permanent measure, so that all of these things are shared equally. And the biggest word that we need on the front of the Labour Party manifesto going forward and on all our banners is redistribution. The redistribution of wealth and power in our society. That's what we stand for, the end of exploitation. Now these campaigns, all of them, for our wages, for our safety on the railway, for a railway that is part of an integrated transport policy, is an essential. It's not just a nice to have. If we want to save our planet, we need to push forward with public transport. We need a system that is run for the people, not for the first group, a Bellio, Go Ahead or whatever. Both of those companies are being taken over by corporate private equity groups while they're telling us that we must get no pay rise. One of them's gone for £950 million and the other one has turned down a bid of £1.3 billion. And I have to sit opposite the chief executive of that company while he's leaving the room to do a deal to sell his company to an American private equity firm, while our members can't have a simple pay rise. That is happening across our economy in every sector. And we've got to stand up and say no. We've got to kick Starmer. We've got to kick the TUC. And if you're in a trade union that's not taking action, you've got to ask yourself why. Why are you not in the ranks of Unite, the CWU, the GMB? If you're not balloting, you've got to get balloting soon, because we're not going to survive unless we fight. The fight is essential, and the fight is going to be a permanent feature of our activity. So I would ask you to come away from these meetings. It's great to be together. It's great to feel solidarity. But in your workplace or in your community, you've got to tell everyone, join the union now. Make the person next to you join the union. Build up your network. Get down to your branches. Get into your regional structures and turn our movement into a fighting part of the labour movement. And we need the political side. We need the cultural side. We need the industrial side, all fighting together. The unions must act. We must end division and competition in our movement and act as a united fighting element of the working people of this country. If we don't, we will not survive the next few years. So it's absolutely essential that working people stand up, they get into the campaigns, and they fight with everything they've got so that our movement delivers for our people, changes this country, and changes our world for the better. So let's get fighting and let's do it together. Good afternoon. See you.